Love my shave, love my razor. The starter set is dynamite. Get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, travel cover for just $3 plus free shipping. You can't beat it. And their founders were tired of paying up for razors that were overpriced and overdesigned. They've fixed that by offering a simpler option and exceptional quality shave at a fair price. Replacement cartridges are just $2 each, 100% quality guaranteed. They stand behind the quality of their products. If you don't love your shave, let them know. They give you a full refund. No subscription required for a limited time only. Harry's has a special offer for our listeners. New customers get $5 off the shave set with code VSiN at harrys.com. That's the starter set with the 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, travel cover, $3 and free shipping. That is $3 plus free shipping. Can't beat it. Code VSiN at harrys.com. Join the millions of guys who've already switched. Code VSiN at checkout to claim your offer. harrys.com.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Going way back when I was working for William Hill, I mean, what they did was the right thing to do. They go to Monmouth Park, which is not Aqueduct, which is not Del Mar, but they made a deal with those people. We'll build you a little sports book. If it comes to fruition, we're ready to go. If not, they have, it's like a little bar and whatever. They have TVs everywhere. But they were in there. They signed a 10-year deal just saying, if and when sports betting becomes legal, we can go from here. So Minnesota, Pittsburgh, wherever, build the book now. What are you going to blow, $1 million? In today's world, it's not a big deal.
No one put any restrictions on me. I doubt that I'm going to delve into in-game right away. It's more apt that I think, for example, Mitch, I think that with the Rams Monday night, the last time I checked, the over-under number was up around 49 and a half because the Rams led the league in scoring last year, so it's a fairly high number. I will always keep that in the back of my mind. I don't think that I'll be jumping into the in-game because I won't be doing that for the Blues. I'll have my hands full.
Of us who bet baseball with a statistical model, even if our model says, oh, look, there's value on the White Sox. Lucas Giolito and the White Sox are plus 185 consensus. And my model says they should be plus 160 something. Well, that should trigger some modicum of a bet for me. But I'm a human being too, right? And I have to have the humility to say, well, my numbers aren't, foolproof.
Pennsylvania is dragging their feet. And the only way that they're going to stop dragging their feet is like, as we just heard the other day, and Tony was talking about, the Gold Nugget will open up. There's no doubt you'll have a great facility there. There's no doubt you'll run a big-time sports book. Wheeling, West Virginia is to open up, which is about a stone's throw away from the Pennsylvania border. You can only imagine the Philadelphia people understanding, like, they can't take a piece of this pie because people will be driving to New Jersey and Atlantic City and Dover, Delaware, and whatever. So it's waking up time for a lot of things.
Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
All right, we have preseason game number 1 coming up on Thursday. The Ravens now 2.5-point favorites over the Bears.
Yeah, taking some money. The Harbaugh factor. Crushing it in the preseason.
What did you say today before the show?
I think it's 9 in a row. 9-0, last 9 ATS.
All right, well, he's 27-13 overall ATS in the preseason as the coach of the Ravens. And so I've been asked by numerous people so far, do you bet the NFL preseason? Why do people bet the NFL preseason? For reasons like that? Zimmer, Carroll, Harbaugh, they love winning these games. Other coaches don't give a rat's ass.
Yep, and that's strong. That's a strong, Carroll's strong ATS. You've cashed 9 straight tickets back in Harbaugh, and you cashed, remember, Zimmer started 12-2 and lost his last 3 last year.
So I made a throwaway comment recently here on VSiN about don't be afraid to bet these teams in the NFL where their opening numbers are double digits or more because they go over a lot. Well, I went back and looked, and this is a 10-year sample size anyway, so we went back to the 2008 season. I was surprised to see the results, Paul.
Yes.
I got to be quite honest about this. If you want to go year by year here, in 2008, 5 teams had double-digit win expectations. Cowboys, Colts, Jaguars, Patriots, Chargers, 4-1 to the under. Colts, the only team to go over. The Jags had a 10. They were 5-11 that year. And so you are going to see a theme when it comes to certain teams. Like when the Chargers have win totals high, they rarely, if ever, go over. 2009, Colts total was 10. That went over, and that was the only one. It went 3-1 to the under. Patriots were 11.5. Giants were 10. Steelers were 10.5. All three teams went under. In 2010, it was 2-2 to the over. Ravens got there. It was 10. They went 12-4. Saints were 10.5. They went 11-5. Can you believe this? In 2011, 9 teams in the preseason had 10 or more wins on their season-long win total. 9. That is unique. And it went 5-3-1 to the over.
And a lot of these are close, too. Shows you how good the bookmakers are when you see some of these come down to a half or a game. So, I mean, one year Seattle won 10 games. The win total was 10.5. They had a tie. Sometimes you see a decent movement as well. You know what happened with the Jets thing was a fluke, but still, it opened 5.5, closed 3 here at the South Point, and then landed 5. But how you want to grade it as well. But certainly 2011 was wild, and it goes up and down, because to start like 2008, 9, 10, it was a lot of unders,
correct.
And then it kind of corrected itself, where you saw, and there was one year I think it went 4-0-1, where if you just blindly bet the teams with the highest win totals, you cashed every ticket. And then it was a horrible run if you just faded the teams with the three teams with the lowest win totals. You couldn't cash a ticket, and then that changed. And then going in the last 6 years, if you bet the 3 lowest win totals, you're 13-7-2.
Mm-hmm.
How that's turned around.
Yeah, more on that coming up in about 10 minutes, and we'll specifically get into a team like the Browns and their overall win totals over the years. But in 2012, it went 4-0-1 to the under as well. Ravens' win total was 10. It pushed. But again, to your point of how close it was, the Packers had a win total of 12. They were 11-5. Patriots, their win total was 12.5. They went 12-4. Eagles were not close that year. The win total was 10.5. They went 4-12. The hell happened that year in 2012? 2013, it was 4-3 to the over. In 2014, 4-1. And that, like you talked about, this is where it started to kind of correct itself.
Patriots opened 12, bet up to 12.5. That year they pushed or lost, depends when you got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also in this time, a lot of it was when Peyton Manning was with Denver, and they had totals of 11 or 11.5, and they went over every single year. You saw that in 2013, 2014, and 2015. 3-2 to the under in 2016, and then teams with double-digit win totals last year were the Packers, Patriots, Steelers, and Seahawks, and it went 2-2. Steelers got there at 13-3. Patriots got there 13-3. Packers, no, 7-9 because of Rodgers, and Seahawks missed it by going 9-7. And by the way, the 2 times the Packers have gone under their win total, it was when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. So overall, the last 10 years, 28 unders, 23 overs, and 2 pushes. It doesn't go over as frequently as I imagined.
Yeah, you're right. 2014 was your big boy, as it was over, and then the 49ers were the 1 under at 10.5. So that was. I was very surprised going back and looking at this the last 10 years with the overs.
Yep. So this year, what does it mean? Well, we have 5 teams. Again, we'll go by the opening number here, because the reason why these numbers will move is because people have bet them, obviously. So the Vikings opened up 9.5. That's now at 10. So we'll keep that one off the board. But the 5 teams who opened up with 10 or more wins were the Packers, the Rams, the Patriots, the Eagles, and the Steelers.
So many great things you can bet out here, and why we love this. I mean, look, take anything, but the Vikings. You want to bet them to win the Super Bowl, win the division, win the conference, go over the win total, make the playoffs, anything you want.
Correct.
You can be all in on the team or just one bet. And at the Westgate, they took Matt Humans wrote about this. They took a $240,000 bet on the Vikings to make the playoffs at -$2. So there's so many different things you can bet here, and you're right with the early money and the sexy pick with the Vikings as well. Steelers 10.5, heavy juice to the under. I like them over though in that division, and Patriots seem to go over almost every year. They're 11.5 and under -140 last check here at the South Point as well. with the highest total. So
Remember last year they opened up 11, bet up to 12.5, and they still went over with 13-3, the final record. Packers, to me, I would not bet that over. I think 10 is the right number with them, although if I had to bet it, gun to my head, I would go under with Green Bay. I like the Rams over 10 because of their division, and I like the personnel. Patriots, again, at 11.5. It's a no bet for me. What would you do with New England this year? They're going to win 12 games again?
you see that guy, front office guy, who made the comment the Patriots would be the Browns without Brady? He's the whole offense.
Yeah. Eagles are 10, open up 10, now 10.5, and the Steelers open up with the double digits again, like we talked about, and you like them to go over 10.5, and that's where they sit right now. It's plus $1.15 on that one.
I forgot about the 2013 Texans who went 2-14. The win total was 10. That was that run where Schaub was throwing pick sixes every game. Oh,
was that the year?
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, they were 2-14. Think about that. The win total that year was 10. Eagles a year before, 10.5. They went 4-12, as we talked about. Every year, though, with the Patriots, they're in this category. Niners had a small run. Boy, it tells you how good Harbaugh was with San Francisco.
He took over a dumpster fire, right, and turned it around immediately. That was a great coaching job.
Look at this, though, with the Chargers. In 2008, 10.5, they go 8-8. 2010, it was 11, they go 9-7. 2011, it was 10, they go 8-8. So every time they're on this list, they go under the total. Something falls apart, and Las Vegas loves this team again this year.
Yeah, it's like the Packers. Well, also they've been staying under with when Rodgers gets hurt too. Mm-hmm. You just don't have a prayer when they have big win totals and something happens to him.
Last week in the New York Post, I put out I like the Raiders under 8 plus $1.15. That's at Will Hill. That was at the time when I sent that out for the New York Post. And let me tell you this, by the way. Have you heard this yet from Jared Cook, the tight end for the Raiders? The latest on this? Michael Gelkin covers the Raiders for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Cook was born in 1987. John Gruden is showing team football film that is older, Cook said. Quote, he's bringing out film from like 1976 when you ain't even think they had film. Grainy film where you can barely see the players, end of quote. He added some of the plays scheme originate there. So not only is John Gruden making comments about how he wants to go back to 1998 football, he made those comments at the Combine, he is now showing the players on his current team film that is older than when they were born. And Cook was born in 1987.
What is he doing? Oh, my God. You can barely see. Oh.
And can you please go back and relay what you said yesterday about the helmet thing with the Eagles players? And so he's going to show them film of when all of this stuff was legal. When
that's true.
What you're watching 30 or 40 years ago it's an entirely different football game than what is being played today. And this is the stuff he's trotting out there for his players.
Oh, God, it's not even the same ballpark. There was a stat on Terry Bradshaw. How many times did Terry Bradshaw throw for 300 yards? I mean, it's ridiculous. Yep. It's not, everyone throws the ball now. And they had officials come in and try to walk the Eagles through these new helmet-to-helmet rules, and they're asking questions, and they couldn't get any answers. They said it was all over the place. There was no consistency. And then the league, the officials kind of said, "Well, and we went back and looked at probably only about 4 or 5 plays." But Malcolm Jenkins, other guys, Jenkins is like the hit on Cooks in the Super Bowl. It's like I'm going to do that 10 times out of 10. I'm running full speed. Yeah. I can't think about rules. Am I getting kicked out? I mean, this is going to get ugly. And you're right, the fans and I don't blame them, who think there's too many rule changes and flags the way it is, about how the game has changed and what they're going to, and the whole thing about what's a catch, what's not a catch, and how many times you're going to sit back there and it's like, all right, 3rd and 6, you get a stop. Whoops, helmet to helmet. The guy's kicked out of the game, 15-yard penalty. It's like, what happened here?
Reynolds, some homework this week. John Gruden is now turning into Dana Carvey's character on SNL, Weekend Update. Remember Grumpy Old Man?
Yeah.
Back in my day, right? And he'd pound his fists.
We had this and we liked it.
And we liked it. Yep. That's who he is. We have to play that at some point this week. Some Dana Carvey from on SNL when he was Grumpy Old Man. That's who. I cannot believe it.
Boy, that's bizarre.
Yeah. I would say so.
So these players were very frustrated. All right, let me get you some more. We're trying to ask questions to get a better understanding. They couldn't give us an answer. They couldn't give us what we were looking for. Under the new rule, a player will be penalized 15 yards and fined or ejected for lowering his head to initiate and make contact with his helmet against an opponent. During the presentation, which lasted close to an hour, players were shown clips of what are now considered illegal hits, some of which appeared to them as routine tackles.
Yeah, right.
And they showed the Jenkins hit on Cooks in the Super Bowl. I'm going to make that play 10 times out of 10. If it's a flag, it's a flag. You can't slow yourself down thinking about rules in a split second. The game happens real fast, faster than the rules take account for. I won't let it affect the way I play. It was also that tirade last year with the guy from the Steelers about, hey, how about the quarterback? How about when the quarterback throws a bad pass and at the last second the wide receiver will duck down and that's when I hit him when I'm not even aiming there. The rule applies to not only tacklers but linemen and ball carriers as well. The concern for running backs, they're going to have to retrain themselves after years of attacking a certain way. The meeting between the Eagles and the refs was described as spirited, with the players expressing concerns over the new rule. The refs were like, hey, we didn't make the rules. Guys are frustrated. And the defense was like, how are we supposed to tackle? They were clearly frustrated. Jesus. And Peterson said, well, it's on us as coaches to let them know about the new rules and everything.
Right.
And coach them up.
But you have to train your body and your mind to play an entirely different sport than what you were used to playing when you were younger, your entire life, essentially. The whole thing to me is just so bizarre. Again, think about how much football has changed in the last 5-10 years. Think about what football was like in the early to mid-'90s when guys like Chuck Cecil
was celebrated.
Were out there.
The bloody nose,
They were headhunting 20, 25 years ago.
ESPN had a segment, jacked up.
Right. So that was 20 to 25 years ago. And think about how he's showing them film from the 70s and maybe the early 80s.
Not good. Not good. Charch might get that right. Paul Charchian doesn't think Gruden's the coach when they move to Vegas.
In a couple of years. It's Follow the Money on Sirius XM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app will flip it and look at the other end of the spectrum in the National Football League. How have teams done with the lowest expectations? We'll tell you coming up next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
GetQuip.com, designed with every mouth in mind. When dentists and designers work together to create a simple, affordable, enjoyable oral care service for everyone, starting with a better electric toothbrush, the perfect brush. Bristles with just the right amount of sonic vibrations and guiding pulses to help simplify better brushing. No excessive power or unnecessary modes. Just what the dentist ordered for a wholesome 2-minute clean. Quip starts at $25. You can get brush head refills automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended 3-month schedule for only $5 and shipping's free. Quip's been featured in GQ. Time magazine named it one of the best inventions of the year. Go to getquip.com/money right now and get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/money.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
I think it's terrific. Congratulations to Brent. Solid hire by the Raiders. And now that Jimmy's here, I could say that's how it all started with the guys in the desert. That's how we became Brent's guys in the desert.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why's that?
Like it.
They didn't pick me.
Were you in contention? You had a tryout and everything? It didn't work out?
They called me, and they didn't call me back.
Oh, that's rude.
We're still the guys in the desert.
Yeah.
You know, Musburger and me go way back when he was just starting out. You know that? I pushed him a little bit here. I pushed him a little bit there. I gave him a big chance to be on TV here. And you know what? He has not called me. He has not reached out. He has not texted me. So I'm supposed to root for the guy?
And then the Super Contest Classic, I wouldn't be surprised if that thing pushed 4,000 now.
You guys are, you said 414 right now. That's ahead of certain years like 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago, if I have that correct. You got 4,000 is absolutely attainable, I think.
I definitely think it is. I think it's over 100 ahead of where we were on the same date in 2017. You know, we get more publicity, more media coverage of the Super Contest than ever before. I don't think it's impossible that we could see 4,000, and I think if it got to 4,000, the winner would be looking at something like 1.7, 1.8 million. So this year's prize is definitely going to be a record setter.
Whether it's Q1, whether it's halfway through a baseball season, whether it's 3/4 of the way, and this applies to the NFL and other sports as well, you are oftentimes, most of the time, going to get a better number on teams. Yes, are some teams going to fly out of the gate and that train will have left and you'll never be able to catch it? Absolutely, there will be those cases. But in most cases, you will have those opportunities. And the same applies to a golf event. So the truth is that you should sort of file those guys away and think to yourself, okay, maybe I don't need to bet them pre-flop.
Let's say it would have went the other way, where all this money would have shown on the Golden State Warriors. The game opened 4.5 and went to 9, and then they beat them. They beat their brains in. The only thing you would have read about is like those people in Las Vegas knew that LeBron's hand was broke. They kept letting people bet 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, knowing that they had no chance to win. But nothing came out about it. No penalty was given to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't understand it. And I really don't understand is Adam Silver being quiet?
And we're back with more Follow the Money on Sirius XM 204. Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard have the mics for the information you need to win.
The VSiN City newsletter is your must-have missive, direct from the sports gambling capital of the world. You will learn how to interpret the sports betting market so you know what the sharp bettors are thinking, plus you will get the daily betting schedules with the official rotation order. The VSiN newsletter is free. Just go to vsin.com/newsletter. Enter your email address. It's vsin.com/newsletter. And it's brought to you by our good friends over at footballcontest.com, your trusted proxy service for Las Vegas football contests. So going back to our previous segment, Paulie, rather than betting teams over, assuming the teams with double-digit win expectations will just get there, maybe the better way to do this is to just bet the teams with the smallest win totals to go under.
13, 7, and 2 the last 6 years. Arizona is 6. Buffalo is 6. Houston, Cleveland was 5. They're up to 6. There are all these. Jets are 6. Tampa's down to 6. Those are all your lowest win totals. Miami was 6. They're up to 6.5. So you'd have to put a lot of teams in action if you want to do that. And this is completely flipped as well, like it did with the overs. If you blindly bet the three worst teams or the lowest win totals, take them under. As it started out now, 2008 it went 1-2, 3-1, 1-3, 0-3. But then the run it's been on the last 6 years, as these teams have just been horrible, and they haven't been able to get there. And a lot of that was the Browns and some of the same cast and characters. Jaguars, Browns on that list almost every year until they were able to turn it around. And, not getting there. And some of them, imagine a win total 4.5, 5, not even coming close. And that's been the case with some of these.
You want to go year by year with the Browns? Because I do.
Sure, go ahead.
They've been so bad.
Yeah.
2008, it was 8. They went 4-12. Then they were 7. They went 5-11. They were 5.5. They went 5-11. They were 6.5. They went 4-12. They were 4.5. They went 5-11. Barely got there. They were 6. They went 4-12. They were 6.5. They went 7-9. They were 6.5. They went 3-13. They were 4.5. They went 1-15. And last year they were 4.5. They went 0-16. They've gone over twice with those super small win totals.
Yep.
And now 5.5 or 6 this year.
Yep. And it's like Gil always talks about, too, when the professionals were betting Jacksonville over every year. You finally cashed a ticket last year after, 5-6 years, whatever it was.
Matt, because they were on this list a lot, too. And in 2016, their win total was 6. They went 3-13. The year before it was 5.5. They went 5-11. Jags in 2014, it was 4.5. They went 3-13. The year before it was 5. They went 4-12. The year before that, it was 5. They went 2-14.
Oh, God.
So it was every year pretty much that they were on this list until last year. Yep. Small win totals, and they had no chance to cash. And you heard every single year before last year, too, this is the year, right? This has got to be the year. Finally got there, I guess, if you bet on the Do Theory a year ago.
Yep. A couple other things on the Eagles, too. This is very good. Peter King, Monday, now NBC, but his recap comes out every Monday. Some good stuff in here. I love this quote from Doug Peterson. People ask me about the players' attitude coming back, and will they come back with the same hunger? I tell them, there's hunger here. You got 5 huge guys on the team who missed the Super Bowl, watch the game, and they're dying to play in the game and win it this year. I've been ecstatic how our players have attacked the offseason. That is a great quote. That's a great quote, and that's something I forgot about, too, that they had so many key guys that missed the playoffs and missed a great run. Jason Witten on social media. One of the defining images of the modern locker room isn't a fiery post-game speech or a group of guys sitting around talking strategy. It's players with their heads down, buried in their phones. The impact? Not good. I've seen the negative impact social media can have, particularly on younger players who grew up with Twitter and Instagram as a big part of their life. A player checking Twitter at halftime? I've seen it. Watching a talented player corrupt his mind and confidence by reading all the critiques from anonymous football experts around the world. Negative social media can ruin a player. Reading your mentions, it's poison. Great quote. Imagine you go into the locker room and a guy's looking at his mentions at halftime. Not to mention these lunatics who play fantasy. It's like, hey, what's the problem? You got one catch at the half. You're killing me. Why would you look at that stuff?
You know what? I knew that was so predictable in my opinion that somebody was actually going to tell us that and say it, the current culture right now inside of a locker room, but I hate hearing that. But it's not like this has been going on for 1 year. The first time I ever heard about Twitter, going back to like 2008, 2009, was when a story came out about Shaq tweeting at halftime. And I said, Twitter, what is that? And I went and looked, and you had to get on your phone to do it. I'm like, wait a second, he's on his phone at halftime? Here I am, grumpy old man. 10 years ago, I said that's unacceptable. And now he's talking about how this is commonplace in the NFL.
Why some people expect a big year from the Ravens. This from John Harbaugh. It's a one-year league. It's all what you do for me this year. My agent told me that a long time ago. 3 years is a career, 10 years is a lifetime. That's the NFL. They're 41-41 in the last 5 seasons with one playoff appearance. Big year for that organization. Also, one more great nugget from Peter King. Only 2 coaches. That's why I like this guy. Only 2 coaches since 1986 went for it on 4th down more often than Doug Peterson 22 times last year. Belichick with the 96 Patriots and Jack Del Rio with the 2007 Jags. And, of course, what happened in the Super Bowl?
No, that wasn't Belichick in 96. Parcells, right?
Oh, Parcells. My fault. Excuse me. Yeah,
okay.
My fault. I read it wrong. Bill Parcells, 27 with the 96 Patriots.
And then Del Rio in
2007
Jacksonville.
with the 07 Jags. Yeah.
Del Rio does not surprise me. Remember how they opened up game 1 a couple years ago? Yeah. It's great going for 2 in New Orleans for the win, and they got it.
Yeah. Another good tweet, Adam Schefter. A middle-aged woman walked out of a restaurant room in a Green Bay restaurant, spotted Matt Hasselbeck, and told him, we want the ball, and we're going to score. Some people never forget the overtime playoff game.
Yeah, good for her.
He threw a pick 6.
That's funny. That's like 10 years ago now, right? Yeah. We'll give you Bill Barnwell's teams who improved the most this year. This really doesn't have anything to do with their win total, per se, but he has watch out for Cleveland, Jacksonville to improve.
Oh, to Cleveland.
Houston, the Chargers, the Bears, and the
Jacksonville.
Colts. Jacksonville
won the division.
Yeah.
Still said they can win more games.
Let me see this here. They won, 10 a year ago? No.
Yeah, 10-6.
Okay. He has them winning about 12 games this year. 11.8.
Wow.
Are the expectations for Jacksonville.
And that guy who went game by game had him 14-2. That Nate Davis.
That high?
He had him 14-2.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he had the Colts 2-14.
We'll get into college football coming up next. John Zenner joins us from the AP. He covers Alabama and Auburn. Will they go over or under their win total this year? We'll ask him coming up next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
I'm Brent Musburger, reminding you that the football betting season is here. There is nothing like it. Are you ready to celebrate the thrill of victory and cash a ticket even on defeats? Sharpen your edge now with the help of Matt Humans, Dave Tooley, and the rest of my guys in the desert. We'll get you prepared for the football season with exclusive handicapping stories and data that you won't find anywhere else. Go to vsin.com/subscribe for the package that makes sense for you, including a 1-week trial at no charge. Our new all-access subscription includes Point Spread Weekly, VSiN's digital magazine designed to make you a better handicapper and avoid the agony of defeat. You'll also get VSiN's 140-plus page college football betting guide out later this month, followed by our comprehensive pro football betting guide in August. Sign up now, vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe. Remember, cashing tickets is what it's all about.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Going way back when I was working for William Hill, I mean, what they did was the right thing to do. They go to Monmouth Park, which is not Aqueduct, which is not Del Mar, but they made a deal with those people. We'll build you a little sports book. If it comes to fruition, we're ready to go. If not, they have, it's like a little bar and whatever.
Yeah,
they have
there you
TVs
go.
everywhere. But they were in there. They signed a 10-year deal just saying, if and when sports betting becomes legal, we can go from here. So Minnesota, Pittsburgh, wherever, build the book now. What are you going to blow, $1 million? In today's world, it's not a big deal.
No one put any restrictions on me. I doubt that I'm going to delve into in-game right away. It's more apt that I think, for example, Mitch, I think that with the Rams Monday night, the last time I checked, the over-under number was up around 49 and a half because the Rams led the league in scoring last year, so it's a fairly high number. I will always keep that in the back of my mind. I don't think that I'll be jumping into the in-game because I won't be doing that for the booth. I'll have my hands full.
Those of us who bet baseball with a statistical model, even if our model says, oh, look, there's value on the White Sox. Lucas Giolito and the White Sox are plus 185 consensus. And my model says they should be plus 160 something. Well, that should trigger some modicum of a bet for me. But I'm a human being too, right? And I have to have the humility to say, well, my numbers aren't, foolproof.
Pennsylvania is dragging their feet. And the only way that they're going to stop dragging their feet is like, as we just heard the other day, and Tony was talking about, the Gold Nugget will open up. There's no doubt you'll have a great facility there. There's no doubt you'll run a big-time sports book. Wheeling, West Virginia is to open up, which is about a stone's throw away from the Pennsylvania border. You can only imagine the Philadelphia people understanding, like, they can't take a piece of this pie because people will be driving to New Jersey and Atlantic City and Dover, Delaware, and whatever. So it's waking up time for a lot of things.
It's time to follow the money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, Sirius XM Channel 204.
Thanks for checking in. It's good to have you on board here on a busy Tuesday morning. We are live in Las Vegas from the South Point Sportsbook. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We talked NFL for the last half an hour. We now turn our attention to college football, and John Zener covers Alabama for the Associated Press, and he joins us early this morning. John, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Let's begin. We'll get into the season-long win total, their chances to win the SEC and a national title again coming up in a few moments. But Nick Saban, of course, recently got the contract extension through 2025. He's making more than $8 million per year in 2018. I think he's worth every penny and more so for what he's meant to that school and that program. Do people there have a problem with how much money he's making?
I saw a graphic recently that said the governor was making $119,000 and he was making $8.3 million this year, and they said he's totally worth it. So it was making fun of the governor, not making fun of the coach's salary. So that's a switch. I think I don't think at this point. I mean, obviously coaches' salaries seem kind of outrageous in general, but the amount of success, the amount of exposure, the enrollment's gone up. The donations have gone up since he's been there astronomically. So, yeah, I think if any coach is worth that amount of money, he is. And, when Urban Meyer and Jimbo Fisher and Jim Harbaugh get these big contracts, that Alabama's going to one-up them so he can be the highest-paid coach in college football. As coaches go, if anybody's worth it, he is.
Do you think he finishes the contract? Is he 66 now?
Hey, he's going to be 67 in a couple months. Yeah, I think that's impossible to predict. But then you don't know. I think he's the type that as soon as or if his energy or desire ever starts to wane, I don't see him coming and kind of like Bobby Bowden would delegate more and kind of be the figurehead, the CEO of the program, and it worked out great for him. I don't see that working for Nick. So it is possible to predict, impossible to predict, but he's a healthy, energetic 66-year-old. Is probably about as much so as you'll find. I mean, he's still going strong. So 8 years is a long time when you get at that point in your career, though. So I don't know, but the completion bonuses you get, if that tells you anything, are 1990 for completing the 2019, 20, and 21 seasons, not the last season. Those $800,000 completion bonuses. So I don't think anybody's taking that for granted, but I think he's got a few more good years in him. However, whether it's 3 or 8 or whatever, I don't know.
Fair enough. We're talking college football, Alabama specifically here on Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204. John Zener covers Alabama football, and he's with us right now. You can follow him on Twitter at JZenor, Zenor. So they have 10 starters back from a year ago, only 3 on defense. Something tells me they'll be fine on defense, though. I mean, the guy's incredible at recruiting athletes on that side of the ball. If they do have a weakness this year, though, John, where is it?
Oh, there's no doubt it would be the secondary. They've got of course 5-star recruits and other big time recruits back there, but the lack of experience. They lost their top 6 defensive backs. I mean, it's hard to imagine any program dealing other than Alabama being able to overcome that and still be a good secondary. So that's the big question mark. I mean, they lost Minka Fitzpatrick and a number of other top DBs. Him obviously being one of the best in the country. So I think that's the question mark. And they've got young talent. They've got a Savion Smith is a JUCO transfer. He was a 5-star recruit for LSU in 2016. He's been there since the spring. So you got to figure he's going to be able to contend for one of those jobs. And one of the higher rated DBs that he's gotten as a recruit, Saban has gotten as a recruit, is Patrick Surtain Jr., whose dad was a 3-time All-Pro performer or Pro Bowl performer. So they got young talent. They've got Trayvon Diggs. Deontay Thompson is a safety who started the playoff games. So he started 2 playoff games, and he might be the most experienced DB they got. So I really think that it's too bad Lamar Jackson's not around, because he would have been targeting that secondary that in that opener for Louisville. I think they're going to be fine as the season goes on, but you can't imagine they're going to come out of the gate and be like a typical Alabama secondary just because of inexperience.
I see you retweeted Greg McElroy. I'd like you to weigh in on what's going to happen at the quarterback position. And it's funny because Greg's co-host, Taylor Zarzer, told us he thinks Hurts is going to transfer in August. How do you think that plays out with what's your advice for Hurts if things don't go his way?
Well, I don't want to give advice to a guy who's 26-2 as a starter, and he's got to live his own life and do what's best for him. Now, Saban said on ESPN last week that Hurts has told him he's going to stick around. He graduates in December. He could move on after that. That's what Saban says Jalen told him. I think what a fascinating quarterback race. That everybody's kind of got Tua penciled in as the starter based on just his obvious. I mean, his talent obvious. His championship game performance was tremendous under that kind of pressure. So I think everybody's got him penciled in, but I do think that they want to find a role for Jalen if he doesn't start. I mean, again, a 26-2 as a starter, 2 playoff appearances in 2 years. So I don't know. I one of them. The thing is when Tua starts out spring practice and gets hurt. And that's the thing. When you're a backup quarterback, you are not that far from getting in the game. You're one injury away. So I don't know if Jalen's going to transfer. I think when quarterbacks have transferred out of Alabama, it usually hasn't worked out. They think that there's going to be a this golden goose at the end of it. They're going to go start somewhere right away, and that's really hard to do on such short preparation time. So yeah, I would say Tua is the odds-on favorite. I mean, some magazines have him as their Heisman front runner, which is amazing. The guy hasn't started a game. But I think that's interesting. You kind of hope whatever Jalen does, it works out for him because he's done so much for that program. But you kind of hope that he shows some patience and maturity, and that might mean sticking around and being ready, being there in case of an injury, or in whatever role they would choose him off the bench if he doesn't win the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Greg would know more about his mindset as a former quarterback, as a former college Alabama quarterback himself. He would know more about his mindset than maybe I'm able to.
Well, John, I'll tell you, and we're talking to John Zener. He covers Alabama football for the AP here on Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204 and VSiN.com. Tua did not open up the Heisman favorite here in Las Vegas, but bettors think enough of him. They've actually now had to make him the favorite because of how much money they've taken on him to win that award here in Las Vegas. What do you make of the schedule this year? Where are some of their major roadblocks, if they have any at all, in your opinion? And their win total is 11. And at one spot, I'm seeing 11.5. Now, we're talking about regular season wins only. That doesn't mean SEC title game or the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they go over or under the 11 or the 11.5?
Well, I would pick. I would definitely pick under 11.5. I mean, they've gone 11-1 several times and still won national titles.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go for the 11 range. Hard to go undefeated in the SEC. Their non-conference schedule's not so bad. They get Louisville right after Lamar Jackson's gone. So that seems to be that Alabama luck. Not really, but it's a pretty good time to get Louisville. And they don't have a great non-conference. Probably the biggest challenger in the West is going to be Auburn, and they play Auburn at home at the end of the season. So I think it's a better schedule than they've had a lot of times, because we don't know how Tennessee is going to be. We don't know how. Frankly, I don't really know how LSU is going to be. Probably pretty good, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M, a lot of those we don't really know. Arkansas, I don't think their schedule's as hard as it's been in the past. So, which is good for a team with a young defense and everything to kind of grow up, give them time to grow up. So I would think 11 wins is a really high standard for most programs, but I think it's just about right for Alabama, and really that if they don't have a bad game, they'll probably be 12-0.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Follow John on Twitter. He's there at JZenor, ZENOR. John, thanks for the time today. We really appreciate that.
Hey, thank you all for having me.
Thanks, John.
Take care. There you go.
13-1, 14-1, 14-1, 12-2, 11-2. But you look at the schedules, like how they're going to lose a game. They're laying 25 against Louisville on a neutral.
Yeah, I mean, well, that game on paper looked a lot better when it was made than it does right now.
Yep. I mean, at LSU and then Auburn at home. They get A&M at home. They're at Arkansas. I mean, there's going to be huge favorites every game. Here's the McElroy tweet. If I'm Hurts and I don't win the job, I tell Saban, if you want me to play, start, I'll be here. If you don't need me, please only play me in 4 games so I can protect my red shirt. That way I could graduate in December, transfer in January, and play 2 years. And we've seen comments. I
like that advice. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And we've seen comments, too, from the dad saying, go out there. But if things don't go your way, and, John's right, too, there could be an injury or, it is fascinating and wild that this guy's never started a game and he's the Heisman Trophy favorite. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's based on a half and overtime. That's the performance that we saw.
Well, it's like everything with Alabama. It's recruiting rankings and off the field and what you did in high school.
Well, you have
what you're projected to.
I mean, though, but you got to be honest about Tua. What you saw in that game.
He's great. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. I mean, Hurts was absolutely horrendous in that matchup.
Oh, he was. But certainly if you're Georgia, you don't know what to expect because you've never seen the kid either.
Yeah, right.
You could argue that too, but the kid appears to be dynamite. But the Louisville games in Orlando, I'm looking at that. I mean, it's hard to find a loss. I know anything can happen. It's kids, but Jesus. It's hard to find a loss because a lot of people think LSU is going to be down. And you get Auburn at home. So, but to John's point, he's saying they got to go undefeated to cash the over ticket. They haven't gone undefeated in the last 5 years.
Correct. And that's the Westgate made that move now. It's 11.5. Let me double check that. The over, I think, is plus 145 if you want Bama to go over the 11.5. I have it right now. Yeah, plus $1.45 on the over 11.5.
Wow. Then you look at Auburn, Washington in Atlanta to start the season, at Georgia, at Alabama, at Ole Miss, at Miss State. And a lot of people are high on Miss State. That Miss State's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tough schedule. And then week 3, they got LSU at home. So they went 10-4, and they returned 13 starters.
Hey, look, man, I'm with you on this. I'm trying to find where they lose. Alabama?
I can't do it.
I mean, so they go back-to-back weeks with a bye in between at Tennessee and at LSU? Are those programs good enough to even give them a game?
It just goes. No, obviously they're so good and the talent's ridiculous and all the stars they get. But again, it goes back to this myth about the week in, week out grind and the depth. It's not there.
Yeah. Again, tell me.
Arkansas stinks. Tennessee stinks. Kentucky's average. Vandy stinks. I mean, the list goes on and on. The East has been terrible for years.
At Arkansas, Texas A&M.
They also catch a break because they
Missouri
get
at home.
Yeah, well, they get Tennessee every year.
Right. Oh, top 10, 15 program though, Paul. Right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
As opposed to LSU, who gets Florida, and I know LSU's been crying about that for a long time, and rightfully so.
And I love how they pencil in the Citadel before they play Auburn in the Iron Bowl. That's always fun. We'll do more on this coming up later on in the week. Pat Forty had his 40-yard dash yesterday that he sent out on Yahoo Sports.
Very good stuff in there with the schedule.
And it was all basically observations on schedules this year. I'll give you one here from the Big Ten. And he calls it the hardest November schedule. Think about this if you're Rutgers.
Yeah. Chris Felica likes them under the Bear. And a good reason why. He's like, well, they get a couple losses early on, but look how they close.
They finish at Wisconsin with Michigan, Penn State, and at Michigan State.
Good luck.
That's the closing stretch for Rutgers.
Yep. It'll be tough. I like the who was it? Was it
average score, by the way, 48-7 in those games.
Yeah. What was the ultimate body clock game? Remember that one?
It's Hawaii plays at Army.
7 a.m.
6 a.m. Hawaii body clock time.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Hawaii time.
Remember, we had that last year where it was a big deal for Cal. They played at North Carolina, and everybody said, body clock game. Carolina was a big favorite, I believe, and Cal beat them outright.
Yeah, or they remember Stanford. Remember Stanford lost at Northwestern. Body clock game.
Yeah.
And the committee actually took that into account.
And I did not recognize this until 40 pointed it out in his column. Liberty and New Mexico State play twice.
Yeah. Both independents.
Yes, right.
That's wild.
So they play at New Mexico State October 6th, back at Liberty on November 24th. Okay.
There was some good stuff.
That is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there. He's got the body clock games and all the travel and what Hawaii has to go through. And there's some good stuff in there, as always.
We will get into today's Major League Baseball card coming up next. A guy is taking the mound today who is one of the best in baseball ROI, yet more sharp money comes against him. That's next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
Does your company want to reach men in the prime of their lives, men with a sense of adventure and ample disposable income? Consider advertising with the Vegas Stats and Information Network. When you do, you'll be reaching a national audience that is 95% male, college-educated, between ages 25 to 54, evenly distributed, making $100,000 a year or more, and visiting Las Vegas at least once a year. VSiN Advertising delivers results because we connect with our fans in so many ways: video and radio, newsletters, social media and podcasts, email, and in person here at the South Point. That's why you are hearing and seeing more and more ads on our network. Get the same results that Quip, Harry's, and Hims are getting. Act now. The peak football advertising slots are filling up. Contact us at advertising@vsin.com. That's advertising@vsin.com. Find out how VSiN can help your business today.
I'm Brent Musburger, and I'd like to ask all of you business leaders out there, does your company want to reach men in the prime of their lives? Men with a sense of adventure and ample disposable income? You will be reaching a national audience that is 95% male, college educated, between ages 25 to 54, evenly distributed, making $100,000 a year or more, and visiting Las Vegas at least once a year. VSiN Advertising delivers results because we connect with our fans in so many ways: video, radio, newsletters, podcasts, email, and right here in person. That's right, come on and visit it at the South Point at the tip of the Strip in Las Vegas. You too can get the same results that Quip, Harry's, and Hims are getting. Act now. The peak football advertising slots are filling up, so contact us at advertising@VSiN.com. Find out how VSiN can help your business grow today.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
I think it's terrific. Congratulations to Brent. Solid hire by the Raiders. And now that Jimmy's here, I could say that's how that's how it all started with the guys in the desert. That's how we became Brent's guys in the desert.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why's that?
Like it.
They didn't pick me.
Were you in contention? You had a tryout and everything. It didn't work out.
They called me, and they didn't call me back.
Oh, that's rude.
We're still the guys in the desert.
Yeah.
You know, Musburger and me go way back when he was just starting out. You know that? I pushed him a little bit here. I pushed him a little bit there. I give him his big chance to be on TV here. And you know what? He has not called me. He has not reached out. He has not texted me. So I'm supposed to root for the guy?
And then the Super Contest Classic, I wouldn't be surprised if that thing pushed 4,000 now.
You guys are, you said 414 right now. That's ahead of certain years like 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago, if I have that correct. You got 4,000 is absolutely attainable, I think.
I definitely think it is. I think it's over 100 ahead of where we were on the same date in 2017. You know, we get more publicity, more media coverage of the Super Contest than ever before. I don't think it's impossible that we could see 4,000, and I think if it got to 4,000, the winner would be looking at something like 1.7, 1.8 million. So this year's prize is definitely going to be a record setter.
Whether it's Q1, whether it's halfway through a baseball season, whether it's 3/4 of the way, and this applies to the NFL and other sports as well, you are oftentimes, most of the time, going to get a better number on teams. Yes, are some teams going to fly out of the gate and that train will have left and you'll never be able to catch it? Absolutely, there will be those cases. But in most cases, you will have those opportunities. And the same applies to a golf event. So the truth is that you should sort of file those guys away and think to yourself, okay, maybe I don't need to bet them pre-flop.
Let's say it would have went the other way, where all this money would have shown on the Golden State Warriors. The game opened 4.5 and went to 9, and then they beat them. They beat their brains in. The only thing you would have read about is like those people in Las Vegas knew that LeBron's hand was broke. They kept letting people bet 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, knowing that they had no chance to win. But nothing came out about it. No penalty was given to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't understand it. And I really don't understand is Adam Silver being quiet?
It's been between 2 and 3 minutes. You know what that means. It must be time for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204.
All right, thanks for checking in. We're live in Las Vegas, tip of the Strip, South Point Sportsbook. We will get into today's Major League Baseball card here, and we do the Step Your Game Up once a week on this show. Top 5, bottom 5, ROI in all the sports. Right now with Major League Baseball, you had Lester yesterday. You pointed out every game.
Fun.
Every game he goes.
Yep, it's all about the analytics, as Gil likes to say. The advanced metrics don't like the numbers say he's phony, but you keep cashing tickets with Lester. Number 1 in ROI. Cubs are 17-4 in his starts and 11-1 in his last 12. Had that horrible outing against St. Louis. Other than that, been pretty good. But they're digging into XFIP and some of the other stuff, field independent pitching.
Right.
I haven't looked at the BABIP. But at any event, who cares? Who cares? Keeps I know Greg Peterson doesn't understand. You keep cashing tickets with the guy.
Well, I'll give you this with him. He has a 6.97 ERA over his last 4 starts. Yet the one bad one where he lost was against St. Louis, and they've bailed him out a lot of those other games. 7-1.
Yeah, let's calm down.
3.16 road ERA on the year.
$1.15 on the road against the Pirates? Crazy.
Well, that's, by the way, he opened up $1.15. He's now $1.08 this morning. So more money coming against Lester. It's like clockwork, man. Every time he takes the mound, you know money's going to come the other side. Yes.
A lot of guys like that. Last year was all Carrasco. Carrasco took money every start for the Indians during that stretch. So they are 6-6 since the break, and Pittsburgh's on that 15-4 run. So big stretch here for the Cubbies. Brewers playing well.
How about that?
And they're making moves, and they got an easy schedule the rest of the way. So another nice win in Los Angeles last night. So after they took 3 out of 4 in San Francisco by getting solid pitching. But come on, Cubs are the better team. They should win this division. Let's see if the Cubs can get something going here and get something going, continue this, get going on this road trip here.
Well, tonight, Brewers, by the way, Wade Miley takes the hill. He's plus $1.60 against Walker Buehler.
Yeah, Ferris is way too high here. Way too high. $1.75.
I'm going to go Superman.
Come on.
Not Ferris.
Yeah, all right, fine.
It's way too inside.
Way too high. $1.70, way too high. Don't you think? Don't you think? You got to be surprised by that.
I would not lay $1.75. No, I would only look at the Brewers here in this matchup. We'll go Phillies-Red Sox here, game 2 of their series. Again, Red Sox got them last night. It was a very well-pitched game between the two starters, Nola and David Price. Arrieta's 3-0 with a 3.09 ERA in his last month, 4-4 with a 3.99 in his last 9 road starts.
Ugly numbers on Pomerantz.
Oh, terrible across the board.
Ugly.
He's only pitched a few times this year because of injury, but he has not been good.
And you're right, the layoff, bad numbers. Maybe the Phillies get him. Arrieta's pitched well. He's had a good July. So see how he closes it out strong. Phillies were right there, couldn't get anything going on offense, but man, Nola's, he is strong. Great pitcher. But the Red Sox, they win every night. So, I can't. Hard to get to the window with Pomerantz, right? These are just horrible numbers.
I agree with that.
As well as they're playing, and it hasn't mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is it hard?
Phillies are pass.
Is it hard for you to get on board with the Baltimore Orioles tonight? Because I will have a bet on this
look
team.
At that. Here we go.
They are plus 265 this morning with Jeffrey Ramirez taking the mound. Now he's 1-3. But he's actually been pretty decent. His overall ERA is at 3.49. He's had 1 road start. I get it, very small sample size. 1 hit, 1 run in 5 innings pitched. And by the way, Tanaka is 1-1 with a 5.63 ERA against Baltimore this year, and they are suddenly killing the baseball.
Yeah, that was a horrible job by the Rays, who lost 3 in a row to the Orioles, if you can believe it. That they get up for these games, though. They're 5-5 against the Yankees. And 5-1 in the state of New York, 27-73 in other games. But the Yankees have had problems with the Orioles. Not to mention the Parcells line. You are what your record says. They're 17-15 run, so they've been average going back the last month or so. And that's not going to get it done going in this easy stretch they have and going to the big series. So remember, as it stands right now, the only series they have in those next 30 games with a team with a winning record was Boston.
Right.
Coming up to 4. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's all bad. It's all Detroit's and Kansas City's and Baltimore's and Rays and all that coming up for the Yankees.
I can only go Baltimore tonight. I'm sorry, but Tanaka, to be just by default right now because of the state of baseball and how bad the Orioles have been until recent times, they're just going to go and say, well, 325, that's the opening number for Tanaka. That's absurdly high.
I know.
What do you make of Bauer tonight and the Indians on the road against the Twins? He is a sneaky watch here, by the way, in the American League Cy Young race. He's been that good this year.
I wonder how high the number goes if Gibson's scratched and traded, or they're close to a deal, and they say, okay, it's not going to happen. We got something on the hook here. I don't know, but you're right. He's been awesome. He's been nails. It seems a little low here, but the Twins are 7-3 against Cleveland this year and beat them again last night. And Gibson was great last time out. But again, you look at what these guys have done when they make that audition start. They've been getting their ass handed to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they have been
night in, night out, getting roughed up. What these guys are doing. So it'd be a Bauer and pass there. And the big series, the 1-day game, Giants and Padres. Again, the Padres. Well, if they lose, they go 5-20 in July. Second worst month in the 50-year history of the club. But Houston and Seattle, Morton a road favorite. They have that great road record, but now they're in a funk. They have that losing streak. They got shut out last night. You got Correa and Altuve banged up. Leake's been solid ROI most of the year. Morton's has a good win-loss record, although the team record in the start's not that hot. But this is huge. No, they're only 3 back. This is now interesting. With Seattle only 3 back, and they have all these games left, against the Astros coming up. Huge series.
And Morton's $133 tonight in this game. Can't hit the ball all of a sudden.
Yeah. Great start. Wasted Cole's effort last night. And I tell you, who's loving this? These teams keep beating up on each other. And then you just got the A's sit back and just kick back. We're playing the Blue Jays. We're 5-0 against them.
Correct.
Cahill's pitched well, surprisingly well. He's $1.65, and they had no problems running out the Blue Jays last night. Estrada had nothing. So, I mean, you think this would turn. I mean, a little bit. It's a great story, but you think, come on, you're throwing Cahill and Edwin Jackson and some of these guys, and you're winning games. It's nuts.
Agreed. Look at them slam the Red Bulls, by the way. Jesus. Those like back in the Red Bull Vodka days 15 years ago for us.
I love it. Lowest payroll in baseball. And they're only a couple back.
Awesome story, by the way.
Back of Seattle, and they're not, I guess, they're only 5 out of the division.
Yeah.
You never know.
This will tell you how good Bauer's been, by the way. He is 8-1 at the Westgate to win the American League Cy Young. Down to 8-1. Only a couple of guys are ahead of him. Sale right now, Verlander, and Cole. That's it. That's the list the way it looks.
Cardinals seem a little cheap at home, too. Flaherty, $1.15 against Gray. That seems a little low. A little short, no?
Yeah, Rocky's better on the road.
Yeah. And Atlanta, 7-3 against the Marlins this year, too. Blew them out yesterday. And they're $1.70 at home against Straley. You got the toilet bowl, KC in Chicago. So, good card.
Yeah.
You're right, getting fun. And we got some big matchups coming up Friday, too. Some big series coming up in Major League Baseball. And hopefully there's some trades. Homer Bailey.
Hope so. Yep.
Homer Bailey's going today, too. Reds are 1-12 in it when he starts. $21 million he's making this year.
Yeah, I remember his last game out a week ago. He was going against that guy for the Cardinals who had a no-no through 6. Back-to-back days for the Cardinals with no-nos through 6. The guy that was out of the pen, Bailey, was actually pretty good in that game, but he got beat again. And today, Reds are, where are they? Oh,
$1.07.
Plus $1.10 now.
Now, yeah, look at that.
Moved a little bit.
Wow. 1-12 when he starts. And Big Sexy's going for Texas. How about that now? Won 5 in a row? What's your ROI if you've been taking Texas here? Oh, you're crushing it.
Yeah.
They were huge dogs in that whole Houston series. Yep. And then Robbie Ray was $2 yesterday.
And they mashed. They had 9 runs.
They did. They're hitting the ball. Yeah.
All right, it's Follow the Money on SiriusXM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. Up next, sports betting will be introduced in another state this week. And the NBA is going to have an announcement today. That's coming up next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
I'm Brent Musburger, reminding you that the football betting season is here. There is nothing like it. Are you ready to celebrate the thrill of victory and cash a ticket even on defeats? Sharpen your edge now with the help of Matt Humans, Dave Tooley, and the rest of my guys in the desert. We'll get you prepared for the football season with exclusive handicapping stories and data that you won't find anywhere else. Go to vsin.com/subscribe for the package that makes sense for you, including a 1-week trial at no charge. Our new all-access subscription includes Point Spread Weekly, VSiN's digital magazine designed to make you a better handicapper and avoid the agony of defeat. You'll also get VSiN's 140-plus page college football betting guide out later this month, followed by our comprehensive pro football betting guide in August. Sign up now, vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe. Remember, cashing tickets is what it's all about.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Going way back when I was working for William Hill, I mean, what they did was the right thing to do. They go to Monmouth Park, which is not Aqueduct, which is not Del Mar, but they made a deal with those people. We'll build you a little sports book. If it comes to fruition, we're ready to go. If not, they have, it's like a little bar and whatever. They have TVs everywhere. But they were in there. They signed a 10-year deal just saying, if and when sports betting becomes legal, we can go from here. So Minnesota, Pittsburgh, wherever, build the book now. What are you going to blow, $1 million? In today's world, it's not a big deal.
No one put any restrictions on me. I doubt that I'm going to delve into in-game right away. It's more apt that I think, for example, Mitch, I think that with the Rams Monday night, the last time I checked, the over-under number was up around 49 and a half because the Rams led the league in scoring last year, so it's a fairly high number. I will always keep that in the back of my mind. I don't think that I'll be jumping into the end game because I won't be doing that for the Blues. I'll have my hands full.
Those of us who bet baseball with a statistical model, even if our model says, oh, look, there's value on the White Sox. Lucas Giolito and the White Sox are plus 185 consensus. And my model says they should be plus 160 something. Well, that should trigger some modicum of a bet for me. But I'm a human being too, right? And I have to have the humility to say, well, my numbers aren't, foolproof.
Pennsylvania is dragging their feet. And the only way that they're going to stop dragging their feet is like, as we just heard the other day, and Tony was talking about, the Gold Nugget will open up. There's no doubt you'll have a great facility there. There's no doubt you'll run a big-time sports book. Wheeling, West Virginia is to open up, which is about a stone's throw away from the Pennsylvania border. You can only imagine the Philadelphia people understanding, like, they can't take a piece of this pie because people will be driving to New Jersey and Atlantic City and Dover, Delaware, and whatever. So it's waking up time for a lot of things.
Over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
Good morning to you listening in the great state of Mississippi. Big day for your state coming up tomorrow, as it looks like legal sports betting will be introduced at a couple of different sports books, and they're going to be willing to take bets at noon local time. That is coming up tomorrow, August 1st. Congratulations, Mississippi now on board with legal sports betting.
Look at that tweet.
Yeah. Well done. I like it. Yeah. Like the promo. It's good.
Talking a big game. All right.
Now, here are some of the things with this. They're going to have a couple of former players on hand. Willis McGahee, Stanley Morgan. They're going to be there making bets at the same time. Obviously, to commemorate the opening. It's a little different because they're not going to offer online or mobile wagering, but they will have it set up for people that are actually on or inside the casino and the sports book